That's from the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He leads me by the still waters.
Thank you so much, Dennis. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Unity Spiritual Community. Please rise and join me in singing our opening song. We are all friends here. We are all friends here. There are no strangers once we walk inside that door. We welcome you to linger in this family of love and hold you in our hearts the way you are. One more time. We are all friends here. There are no strangers once you walk inside that door. We welcome you to linger in this family of love and hold you in our hearts the way you are. And hold you in our hearts the way you are. You may be seated. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity Spiritual Community. I'm just going to turn that down a little bit. Adjust my tech. Okay. All right, let's give that a try. Okay. It's a beautiful Sunday morning. Yesterday felt like spring, didn't it? And today, maybe not so much. We're reminded that it's, I guess it's just March now, so very soon. And, we feel a lot of turbulence in the world right now. It seems kind of chaotic. And I invite you just to come to center in this place of sanctuary this morning, where we remember what is important. Remember that God, all good, is truly all there is. So we ground into Unity's first principle. I didn't put it in the slides because I decided to do this on the way here to church. But Unity's first principle is that there is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, and that is God the good, omnipotent. Let's say that together. We'll say a piece at a time. There is only one presence and one power active in my life. There is only one presence and one power active in my life, in this ministry and in the universe. In this ministry and in the universe, God the good, omnipotent. Say, God the good, omnipotent. And when we remember that truth, all that's swirling around us, all the choices that people make and all the confusion that we see in the world comes back to that core center that we know is true. And we're present within that. So we take this opportunity to celebrate our unique expression as a community, because today is our annual meeting. And so as the members who are the part of this expression, we honor each of you for your special place in our lives and in our hearts. And so we're going to begin by affirming our mission statement together. I think I have it in the slides. Let's check. Is it in there? No. Okay. You can repeat after me. I'll say it first. We are a visionary community offering sanctuary, celebration, enlightenment, and inclusivity for all who seek spiritual awareness. We are a visionary community. We are a visionary community offering sanctuary celebration, enlightenment and inclusivity, for all who seek spiritual awareness. For all who seek spiritual awareness. Okay. And our vision statement is what's on our logo, which you'll see in a minute. Light-filled, heart-centered, spirit-led, unity spiritual community prepares the way for the awakened human. Light-filled, heart-centered, spirit-led, unity spiritual community prepares the way for the awakened human. Well, okay. Light-filled, heart-centered, spirit-led. We breathe into those ideas for a moment. And so it is. And I'm Lisa Lawson. I'm a licensed Unity teacher here at Unity Spiritual Community in Citrus Heights. And our pre-service music was provided by Dennis Kalfas. Thank you so much, Dennis. And now I'd like to invite Ashley Forsyth to read the Daily Word.
Hello, everybody. Today is March 2nd, 2025, and the word for today is positivity. Through positivity, I can do all things through the divine presence within me. I've heard it said, most people are about as happy as they make up their minds to be. These words show me the importance of positivity and how an upbeat attitude can help me afloat upon the rough waters of life. Positivity helps me see the world as full of joy and possibility. Difficulties may arise, but my confident faith in the goodness of God gives me the power to cross the stormy seas to find calm waters and the warmth of sunshine. The light of God surrounds, enfolds, and uplifts me. When I center my thoughts on the divine within, I feel equipped to meet all challenges. God's indwelling grace sees through the stormy days, even if the squalls of sadness toss me about. By faith, I will outlast the gales and reach calm seas again. And the scripture today is from Proverbs 4:23, and it reads, "Keep your heart with all vigilance, for from it flows the spring of life." Positivity.
Thank you, Ashley. So we welcome each one who's with us today, whether you are here at Sylvan Community Center, and we have some people on Zoom with us, and several people who watch regularly on YouTube, and it's even as far as Brazil. So we welcome each one of you who's here today with us, and we know that you are here by divine appointment. Thank you for adding to the joy of our Sunday service. So if it's your first time with us today, we do have welcome packets in the lobby, so please be sure to pick up a welcome packet from an usher. And you may also want to sign up for our email list. We send out a weekly newsletter that has not only our events that are coming up and our services descriptions, but sometimes some nice articles. So for those of you who are online, you can connect with us that way as well. So today is Birthday Sunday, and it's the first Sunday in March. So do we have anyone with us here today who has a March birthday? Oh, lots of March birthdays. All right.
My son's birthday.
Oh, your son. Okay, well, I wish he was here, but what's his name and his birthday?
Roy.
Lord.
He's in Lawson.
Okay, all right. And Brenda, is it your birthday this month?
It is my birthday this month.
Uh-huh. So your name and your birthday. Your which day is your birthday?
22nd.
Brenda's is the 22nd. Okay, and you know who else has a birthday today?
Carla.
Reverend Carla's birthday is the 19th, and she's unable to be with us today. She's hoping to join us on Zoom, so her birthday's the 19th. So let us sing happy birthday to our birthday people. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, God bless you. Happy birthday to you. All right. And I believe we have some special treats after service for the birthday people. Brian said he was bringing some. Are there special treats today for the birthday people? Buntinis. All right. Okay. Thank you, Brian, for providing those. All right. So we're going to take a moment to greet each other. And we just always want to remind people that Unity people tend to want to give hugs. But sometimes we don't feel like having a hug. We just, so if you don't want to hug, just greet each other with a namaste or a handshake. So go ahead now and greet each other. And then when the music starts, that's your cue to return to your seats. Since today is our annual meeting day, I thought we would sing a couple of old Unity songs. And you may notice that some of these songs really bring some things up that we're going to be talking about in our talk. So you'll notice that as we sing the words. This is called When You Rule Your Mind. And it has to do with Unity's ideas that we create the experience of our reality in our thoughts, okay? So here we go. Think light in the face of darkness. Think faith when you're lost at sea. Think good, for there is no evil in the world unless you think there ought to be. When you rule your mind, you rule the world. Think light, think faith, think good, think high when you're feeling low down. Think free when you want to fly. Think big if you want to grow up in the world. Unless you think you'll never try. When you rule your mind, you rule your world. I like this train part. Think high, think free, think big, think life full of vim and vigor. Think truth, let the spirit flow. Think love, and there will be love in all the world. Unless you think you'll never know. When you rule your mind, you rule your world. Think life, think truth, think love, think. I love those oldie but goodies. Okay, in Unity, at our church, we kind of subscribe to the idea of chunking, which is a new kind of brain-based way of teaching, where we don't give you everything at once. We like to kind of break it up a little bit. So I thought I'd start with this little featurette on spiritual bypassing, because we're going to be talking about that more in our talks. Who's heard of the term spiritual bypassing? Okay. So it was a term introduced in the mid-1980s by a man named John Wellwood, who was a Buddhist teacher and a psychotherapist. And I think he noticed this tendency, mostly in his spiritual communities, it was a tendency to use spiritual ideas and practices to sidestep or to avoid facing unresolved emotional issues, psychological wounds, and unfinished developmental tasks. So what it is it's a superficial way of glossing over problems, and it makes us feel better in the short term, maybe, but maybe not so much in the long term. It doesn't ultimately solve anything and just lets the problem kind of linger on. And so as I researched this, it came up in a conversation with Stevie. I get inspired by you guys all the time. But I especially saw articles related to meditation practices or practices of non-attachment that we might find associated a lot of times with Eastern type religions, that idea of non-attachment. But we also find it in our churches, our Unity churches. An example would be if someone says, "It's all good," when you actually see that there's some big problem. Or say if someone dies, there's a death of a loved one, and people tell surviving relatives that, "Oh, it was all part of God's plan." Or if, say, a relative behaves in ways that are hurtful to other family members, and rather than confronting the behavior and working through it, the people who are harmed feel they need to just repress their anger and remain tolerant. This could all be spiritual bypassing. And it can happen in a relationship, or it can happen when we're, in a way an organization is run, or a business, or a church, for sure. So what's a bypass? You know what a bypass is? I think of a highway. So this is the Sutter Creek bypass, and I lived in Sutter Creek at the time this was being built, and we lived right on Highway 49. And we are musicians, and we would be trying to record in the house, and we would have to do it at 2 a.m. And even then, there would be trucks coming down the hill with their Jake brakes going, and you'd have to throw the whole thing out. And so it was really hard to get a good recording. And it was hard to park, and it was dangerous to cross the street. So the bypass is a big road that allows the traffic to continue at a fast pace and go around the town. And it also means that the people in these cars don't get to experience the charming, next slide, towns of the Gold Rush. That's Sutter Creek. And there's potentially less business in the town. So there's ups and downs to having a bypass. But when we spiritually bypass, we're hiding behind our spirituality or our spiritual practices, which distances us from other people and from ourselves. So I found this article. I think spiritual bypassing is kind of a term that's become kind of trendy. And so you find it in all kinds of places. But an article on Very Well Mind, which I think is a website devoted to psychology. Here are some examples they give that might show we are spiritual bypassing. Avoiding feelings of anger, believing in your own spiritual superiority as a way to hide from insecurities. Believing that traumatic events must serve as learning experiences, or that there is a silver lining behind every negative experience. Believing that spiritual practices such as meditation or prayer are always positive. Extremely high, often unattainable idealism. feelings of detachment, focusing only on spirituality and ignoring the present, only focusing on the positive or being overly optimistic, projecting your own negative feelings onto others, pretending that things are fine when they're clearly not, thinking that people can overcome their problems through positive thinking, thinking that you must rise above your emotions, and using defense mechanisms such as denial and repression. Does that, I was gonna say, does that trigger anybody here? It definitely triggers me a little bit. Using defense mechanisms such as denial and repression. Yeah. So some of it sounds a lot like what Unity actually advocates, doesn't it? Yeah, because we use affirmations and denials. And we also believe that we create the experience of our reality through our thoughts. So this deserves a closer look, yes. Today we're going to look at in our talk about what spiritual bypassing actually is and how we can recognize when we might be floating into that territory. So now we're going to sing another song. This is another oldie but goodie. It is I Am Free, I Am Unlimited. So why don't you guys stand? Really get a little motion going here. Oops, let's raise that. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. Let's sing we are free, we are unlimited. There are no chains that bind us. We are free, we are unlimited. Right now, right now. We are free, we are unlimited. There are no chains that bind us. We are free, we are unlimited. Right now, right now. So it is. You may be seated. And at this time, I'd like to invite our prayer chaplain, Stevie Kaplinger, to bless our prayer requests.
So I'd like to draw our attention to the prayer box that Brian's bringing out right now. So in the prayer box, we leave what's heavy on our hearts. And if you would like to pray with me after service, we have this little cozy area here. You can come sit with me. Or you can call Silent Unity, which now is called Unity Prayer Ministry. As we reflect on the prayer box, let's breathe in, calming ourselves, calming our body, being centered in Christ consciousness. We are the light of the world. We know our thoughts, our words, our actions contribute to the peace of the world. Guide us. Think high. Think free, think big, oh Lord, amen.
Thank you, Stevie. And now, Ashley Forsyth is going to read our meditation today. So please prepare with me for a time of meditation as she comes forward. Spirit, guide me deep inside me. Take me to my heart place, the place of ease and grace.
Breathe deeply and relax as we join together in a time of meditation. Release the chatter of your everyday mind and allow yourself to sink into the deep peace that is always but a thought away. Breathe into this wordless state of knowing, of connection with all that is. Allow yourself to be lifted into joy, and remember that joy is your birthright. Breathe again and ride the ebb and flow of your breath as it carries you deeper and deeper. In this state of oneness, feel how right it is that you are here. Feel the perfection of your role in life, in your family, in this spiritual community. Realize that your place was reserved for you, a place that only you can fill. You were born for a sacred purpose. The very cells of your body have coalesced this morning to provide the vehicle for your spirit to carry out your life's work. Heaven and earth conspire to provide all that is needed. Angels lead the way as you step forward to fulfill your destiny. Allow yourself to dream your life into being. There is no dream too big, no desire too grand. You were instilled with the wishes of your heart so that you would make manifest your destiny. Breathe again and allow the vision of your purpose to shine upon the screen of your mind as we share some time in silent prayer. Sweet Spirit, we are ready. We are willing. And we are very, very capable. We ask only for clarity of vision so that we may move forward with confidence and with delight, now and forevermore. Amen.
And so I pray, and so I deepen, holding space, holding peace, and so I pray, and so I deepen, holding space, holding peace. I stand for you. I stand for oneness. I stand for love. I stand for you. Every breath a prayer, every thought a blessing. Breathing God, breathing love, every breath a prayer, every thought a blessing. Breathing God, breathing love, sacred presence, holy being, holding space, holding love, sacred presence, holy being, holding space, holding love. And so I pray, and so I deepen, holding space, holding peace. I stand for you. I stand for oneness. I stand for love. I stand for you. Every breath a prayer. Thank you. And thank you, Ashley, for that beautiful meditation. Who knew, right? The gifts, the talents that show up in our ministry. So how enlightened are you? If you can live without caffeine, if you can be cheerful, ignoring aches and pains, if you can resist complaining, if you can understand when your loved ones are too busy to give you any time, if you can take criticism and blame without resentment, if you can ignore a friend's limited education and never correct him or her, if you can resist treating a rich friend better than a poor friend, if you can face the world without lies and deceit, if you can conquer tension without medical help, if you can relax without liquor, if you can sleep without the aid of drugs, if you can honestly say that deep in your heart you have no prejudice against creed, color, religion, gender preference, or politics, then you can have almost reached the same level of spiritual development as your dog. All right. Okay. So when I've heard the term spiritual bypassing brought up, I have found it very confusing. Because it is this term, this popular kind of term that people use right now, kind of in a surfacey way, right? But it's a convenient term for people to use that actually has real meaning if we understand it. And I have to say that many of the people who use this term probably do not understand the spirituality that we actually practice. So we talked about John Wellwood coining this term in the mid-1980s. He says, when we are spiritually bypassing, we often use the goal of awakening to rationalize what he calls premature transcendence, which is trying to rise above the raw and messy side of our humanness before we have fully faced and made peace with it. So, and what is this messy humanness? Well, it's our human needs and our human feelings and thoughts and psychology, which includes our relationship challenges. So when we're spiritually bypassing, we're using our spirituality as a shield or as a defense mechanism to gloss over a human problem, and then that problem festers and it doesn't resolve. But it's our human tendency to avoid difficult things, right? We can bypass in many ways, not only spiritually, we can binge watch TV or any kind of addictive behavior that we might indulge in. And we all have deep emotions in our humanness. And we have to remember that our emotions are not good or bad. And that sometimes we like to label them as positive or negative, but they're not actually, we don't have to think of them as positive or negative. They're just our emotions. Because our feelings lead us through our thoughts, through recognizing our thoughts coming from those feelings, to our core beliefs. And by recognizing those core beliefs and digging into them, we can come into contact with our most deep inner truths. We can come into better contact with that, but only through recognizing those beliefs. We all go through dark nights of the soul. Who's been through a dark night of the soul? Probably everybody, yeah. And dark nights of the soul can be very uncomfortable, but they are the germinating times. They're the times of preparation for what's next, just like a seed in the ground. It's the time of preparation for rising as a phoenix, spiritually, into our next phase of development. And what we call negative emotions are often a sign that something needs to change. The integral psychologist and spiritual teacher Robert Masters tells us that our resistance to pain amplifies it, and that the more we try to avoid our pain, the darker and more tenaciously rooted it becomes. But then, when we stop avoiding our pain, and when we cease judging our pain or fighting it, it just starts to serve us rather than to hinder us. He compares our pain to a dragon. And he says if we really want the treasure that the dragon is guarding, we have to face the dragon. But it also, our encounter with this dragon also ensures that we will be ready or sufficiently mature enough to truly appreciate and make good use of the treasure. Cool, huh? Think of that next time you go through a dark night of the soul. So the dragon is not actually blocking our path. It is an essential part of our path. Now, on the other hand, you can go on. On the other hand, we can focus on our problems, right? And whether it's in a relationship or in the world or in our health, and this can be like picking at a mosquito bite until it becomes infected, rather than letting the body naturally heal. Because we know that our bodies and our minds have a natural wholeness, and that when we turn to God, we return to that wholeness. And this is healing. So we can recognize and feel our feelings and do whatever it is that we need to do to process our feelings, but we still may choose not to engage in whatever is producing this tumultuous energy, like right now in the world around us. We may still choose not to engage in that energy, and this can be called holding space. It's one of the things we do. So we think of our personal pain, and what about the world's pain? Because we can feel that pain so intensely. We're sensitive people. So what is mine to do? Because even activism can be a form of bypassing. When we fight against something, it gives us somewhere to channel that energy, that emotion that's so strong with us. And we are engaging in us, them, thinking, them, and us, them, right? It feels so good because that energy is flowing. Because a lot of times we just don't know what to do. What else is there to do? And it's complicated. Because yes, we are upset about the plastic in the oceans and people fighting in Ukraine. And everything we purchase comes in plastic. And we have to drive our cars, and the electricity and the gasoline has to come from somewhere. So short of living like a hermit in Alaska, we constantly feel this dissonance of our beliefs and the fact that we feel responsible, or that somebody is responsible. And Reverend Carla would tell us that none of it is real. And you know that, right? Yeah. And so we can step outside of ourselves for a moment. And we can remember that we are all one. We're part of an interconnected universe. And so when we see those people that we might want to think of as them, as one with us, because we just can't help it, that we are one, instead of fighting against them, we start to open ourselves to understanding. And we might see their perspective, or maybe we'll just see the seed of where their thoughts or actions are coming from, and we might start to have compassion. John Muir, the naturalist, wrote, "When we try to pick out anything by itself, we find that it is bound fast by 1,000 invisible cords that cannot be broken to everything in the universe." Unity's first principle. God is good. God is all good, everywhere present. However we want to think about God, God is all good, everywhere present. So, how can what's happening in Gaza be good? What's good in that? We could take a side and make it about us and them. Or we can recognize that terrible tragedy that the Israelis faced when innocent people were attacked at a festival. And also we can recognize the years of oppression that the people of Gaza have lived with. And so we feel it. And we feel that tremendous pain, the pain of it and of our humanity. So spiritual bypassing would be to not feel the pain. It would be to simply say, oh, God means it for good. That's the end of it. But often there are two or more, even more truths which seem to conflict. That one definitely does, doesn't it? But the truths that these people hold or that are existent in our consciousness are completely and deeply true for those who are holding them. It's a both and situation. And so we learn to live in the question, but still live in our faith. So Michael and I have been working through a book. It's called 8 Dates, and it's by John and Julie Gottman. And there's 8 dates, and each one you address some particular issue that is relevant to a relationship. And they explain that in a good, long-standing marriage, there are perspectives in which we will not see eye to eye. And these perspectives may involve our deepest values. They're unresolvable, but we love each other anyway. And in a marriage, of course, the partnership can be broken if needed. But in this incredible, beautiful world, we are inextricably connected. We can't help it. But there may be a greater part of this situation in which we recognize it's minimally my business. It's their business, and it's God's business. But we are all connected, so we feel it. And so to know how it's my business, how is it my business, we can go through these steps. We could ask ourselves first, how am I triggered by what's happening in this situation? The Middle East situation is a good example. How am I triggered by that? And am I simply avoiding thinking about it? Or does it actually engage me emotionally when I'm honest with myself? And if it does, what's mine to do? Do I need to work through past issues that are related to that trigger? Or is it mine to actually take an action step? What is not mine to do? Maybe it's mine just to simply hold space. Remember that by healing ourselves, since we are connected, we are healing the world. It's an important step. But it's also important to remember that our spiritual practices, including prayer and meditation or denials and affirmation, are not spiritual bypassing. Spiritual bypassing is when we use those practices as a shield to avoid something uncomfortable. It's when we become detached, but it's not in a healthy way, because we aren't able to embody compassion, be present in it. And then our compassion kind of stays in our head space instead of in our heart space. And so what's the difference? Well, the difference is just our awareness. So coming back to unity, mainstream culture surely does not usually align with unity and new thought beliefs. And we saw that when we sang that wonderful song, When You Rule Your Mind. And then we talk about spiritual bypassing and what mainstream culture thinks about it. So mainstream culture tells us it's our responsibility to fix things. And it tells us that some people are simply evil, and we need to stand up and fight them. And it also tells us that it's better to act than to do nothing. But there are some things that we just cannot resolve, or that just may take some time to resolve, or they're not ours to resolve. So like, I have a personal example. What if one partner in a marriage or partnership likes more stimulation and wants to have the TV on at night, and the other one wants quiet? The quiet one would be me. That's me. And this could be a matter of contention in the couple, and it has been. And perhaps the quieter partner resents the TV being on, and maybe spiritually bypasses and tells herself she's being loving when it's actually causing great stress for her nervous system. So if this challenge is addressed and acknowledged, we might find that this difference between these two people's needs are unresolvable. They really are. But by addressing it and accepting that neither party is wrong, that's the hard thing, right? Letting go of that need to be right. It's true though, right? What each person's needs are. It's true, truly a need. We acknowledge neither party's wrong, and that we truly love each other, and that we want to be together. And then something might be found so that both partners' needs can be met. And what could that be? Headphones, yes. That was our solution. So Michael will put in his AirPods, and I could even sit next to him and do my schoolwork or read, and we can still cuddle on the couch. And that's what he really wants anyway. He just wants to cuddle while we watch TV, right? And so the other thing that we do is we have to plan our time together, because otherwise we can both get really busy, and he thinks that I'm not available to spend time with him when I just don't really want to watch him fix the car. And and then, anyway. So we have to plan those times to be together. So Unity's fifth principle, let's pull up the principles. We've been pulling these up almost every week. Fifth principle is action. And we think of it as action, but it actually tells us that we have to apply the principles in our lives and not simply state them. And so what does that mean for us when we use Unity's fifth principle and we apply the principles in our lives? We remember there's only one God, and God is only good. We remember God's present in every situation. And so we might ask ourselves, how is God present in this situation? Can we understand this? And if not, because we might not understand, we hold space for the good in our faith. And secondly, we remember that every person is an expression of the divine. They may not be acting in their highest self at this moment, but we can hold in mind their potential and remember our oneness with them. Instead of saying them, we can say, as Reverend James Trapp, I learned through him, we say some of us. Some of us like to believe that such and such, or, because it's us, it's not them. They're not them, they're us. And we can remember that our thoughts affect our experience of reality. We can ask ourselves, could there be a different way of seeing this or of approaching this? And then our fourth principle, we remember to go to God. We remember to go to the field of ever-present good in prayer. Because this is where we get our direction as to what is ours to do. Come back to that still place. And so in applying these beliefs as a community, we become a powerful presence for love. We hold space through what we see as negative emotions, and we take responsibility for our own emotions, and we feel and have compassion for the experiences of others. We have the courage to take action as we're guided, knowing that even a small thing like a note or a smile can have a huge effect, and that actions take courage. We acknowledge the working of God, all good, in all situations, whether in the lives of those affected or in a greater way for the world, ultimately. Because real spirituality is not an escape, but an arrival. And thus ends the lesson. Thank you. I'm playing many hats today. Let's stand together. Let's make a new day. Let's lift up each other and find a new way. Tomorrow's upon us. The future is here. Let's love one another and release all our fear and be peace. Expressing in the world. Be the joy and the light of the Spirit, expressing in the world. And be love, expressing in the world. Be the hope and the heart of the Spirit, expressing in the world. Make a commitment. Open your heart. Don't stand there in judgment. And keep love apart. God lights the way now. Our pathway is clear. Loving each other in expressing in the world. And be love, expressing in the world. Be the hope and the heart of the Spirit, expressing in the world. Be the hope and the heart of the Spirit, expressing in the world. All right, so Brian has brought the offering bag in, and so as we prepare for our love offering, we just want to thank every one of you for your support of this community, which helps us be present in the world in this way. So as we pass the bag around, we pass it to every person, whether you make your donation online or here, and we want you to just bless the offering by placing your hand over it and just putting that gratitude and love into that. Go ahead and start passing, Brian. And thank you to everyone who's present online. Also, hold this space for the support, the ultimate abundance of the supply that's always available for us in our community and passes through you. We see you beautifully, wonderfully supported in every way. So we give generously and joyfully, and we say say our affirmation together that God is my source. Together with me. God is my source and nourishes me in every good and perfect way. Let's say that again. God is my source and nourishes me in every good and perfect way. And so it is. We're just going to sing our offering song one time. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all I receive, and all that I am. Freely, freely I have received, freely, freely I give. Divine love through me blesses all that I have, all that I give and receive. All right, thank you, Brian. All right, we have just a few announcements this morning. First of all, today is our annual membership meeting. And it's not real long. We invite you all to stay, whether you're a member or not. Members are the ones who get to vote. And we go over, we elect new board members, and we go over our finances for 2024, and we actually have a little review of the year so that we can remember all that we did and learned spiritually this year. And just have a little question and answer time and projection for this year. So next week is Friday and Saturday is our regional key leader conference. If you're interested in going, you are welcome to go. It's a number of workshops kind of designed for people who are leaders in the church, but Friday night is a workshop on grieving that's designed to be applicable for anybody, and it's available online or in person at Unity of the Valley in Vacaville. So we did have that information in our newsletter, or see me if you're interested in going or want more information. Next week, I'll be speaking again. It's the beginning of Lent, and Unity's Lenten booklet this year is called In the Garden. So that's the theme for the talk. We'll be talking about releasing our negative thoughts and things that we're holding on to so that we can be clear and free and open for that resurrection of the Christ within us. So Michael will be here with me next week. And next week we'll also be having our prayer circle. Our full calendar is mostly posted online. There's a few things to be filled in. We are going to be having a spring equinox gathering on March 19th, which is Reverend Carla's birthday. So that'll be in place of our full moon gathering. So we can look forward to that. All right. And I think that's the announcements. So if you would please rise and circle up, we'll sing our closing song. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyful vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. And we know that the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And we ask that you would all stay for the meeting. Thank you so much for being here. And for those who are on Zoom, we're going to leave the meeting open and come back in about 5 minutes. We will leave it set up as it is for the first part, and then for the Q&A section, we'll take the computer over to the table so we can include you all. So see you in a few.